Talking cats are real. And I'm not talking about the Cheshire Cat or the Cat in the Hat or that one talking cat that was voiced by Matthew Broderick in the Rick and Morty episode. No, real physical cats that can talk. Not only can they talk, sometimes they can get themselves into quite a bit of trouble. One such cat found himself and his owners embroiled in a legal battle that ended up making case law history. Let's see if he can talk his way out of it as we dive into the absurd case of Miles versus the City Council of Augusta, Georgia. Our story begins rather innocuously with a box of kittens. Carl Miles and his wife Elaine were a struggling couple living in Augusta, Georgia, with limited means and very few prospects. One day in the mid-1970s, Carl was approached by a young girl who was looking to rehome a box of kittens. Initially, he was hesitant, but suddenly he changed his mind when a voice spoke to him, and it said, "Take the black one." He named the kitten Blackie, which isn't the most creative name, but it's definitely better than the one that H.P. Lovecraft gave to his cat. At 5 months old, Carl again heard another voice. "The cat is trying to talk to you." To Carl, this was the voice of God. From there, he began a rigorous speech therapy regimen. He would practice with Blackie 3 to 4 times a day. He would tape the sounds that Blackie made, and then he'd replay them. And also, he would train Blackie to watch his lips. By the time Blackie was 6 months old, Carl claimed that only he could understand the cat. After an additional 1.5 years of rigorous training, Blackie could speak so clearly that other people could understand, and he'd say things like, "I love you," and "I want my mama." Blackie, the talking cat, very quickly became a media sensation. He toured the country, he appeared on radio shows and TV shows, he even recorded a Christmas song, and I'm pretty sure it's one that would put Mariah Carey to shame. However, as often happens with fame, eventually it all faded, and Blackie and his owners had to return to Augusta. There, they made ends meet by approaching passers-by. They'd solicit contributions. In exchange, they would be allowed to hear Blackie talk. This, of course, did not sit well at all with the local community, and very soon, the police intervened. They required the Miles to obtain a business license and in addition pay a $50 tax, or they would face the possibility of jail time. Though Mr. and Mrs. Miles did begrudgingly pay the tax, they were very deeply dissatisfied with the requirement. They decided to take the matter to court. Their argument was that the city's ordinance which was imposing the tax was too vague and overly broad. They also pointed out that within the ordinance's very long list of taxable trades, businesses, and occupations, the occupation of talking cat was nowhere to be found. This very well may be the very first attempt to invoke the Air Bud defense in real life. Additionally, they claim that the ordinance was violating Blackie's constitutional right to free speech. Despite their creative legal arguments, the district court ruled in favor of the city. The Miles appealed, and the case ultimately made it all the way to the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, which affirmed the lower court's decision. The court found that while the ordinance did not explicitly list talking cat as a taxable business, taking contributions in exchange for the performances would be covered by its catch-all provision and under the common sense understanding of the term business. Moreover, the court ruled that Blackie, being a cat, was not a person, and thus he was not entitled to the protections of the Bill of Rights. And even if Blackie did possess the right of free speech, his owners were not able to sue on his behalf as Blackie was fully capable of speaking for himself. Blackie passed away in 1992 at the age of 18, but his legacy lives on, forever etched in case law history. And as his final moments approached, Blackie looked up at Carl and uttered, "I love you," one last time. I'm Frank Chopatini with Servetty Software. If you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it. And if you or someone you know needs software to help run a service-based business, go to servetty.com for a free trial.